Hello and welcome to Crafts for Kids. I'm your host, Jann. It's officially spring, although it doesn't feel like it right now, but we are thinking of spring crafts, Easter specifically. Now, you might be decorating Easter eggs, and if you are, be sure to save your egg carton. It can be a big one, it can be a small one, they all work. These humble things are great for crafts. You can make cute animals and flowers, like a caterpillar, some little chicks, a bunny, flowers, large flowers, and a ladybug. Those are just a few of the things you can make. And we use household materials to do it. I'll show you what we need. So, obviously, egg cartons, sturdy pair of scissors, because they have to cut through this, and actually a craft knife might be good as well. And I recommend that adults do all the cutting. You can have the fun of painting and decorating it. Now you might want wiggle eyes. I use small ones on the caterpillar, big ones on the bunny, but you can also paint the eyes. Pom-poms, these are optional. I use a tiny one on the nose, and I use some in the back of these large flowers. For the flowers, you will need something for the stem. Now, I found these green straws, those are fun, but my favorite thing is to take a stick off the ground and paint it. And the reason I like this is because A, it's cheap, but also it can be any length you like. So then you can adjust it. You can paint it if you want or not. A pencil is handy, paint, and a palette. A palette is where you put the paint, store the paint while you're working on it. And I love little paper plates because they're cheap and you can keep reusing it. If you let the paint dry in between each color, you can use it again and again, and it kind of turns into a work of art. You need a brush, of course. There's the paint, water, glue. Now I use different kinds of glue. I did test low temperature hot glue. That works well, definitely for adults. White glue works for some things, like the bunny. Also, glue dots can be very good. I detached the head from the caterpillar, and I used hot glue, but a glue dot would be just as good. So that's kind of your materials. I also used a bit of Scotch tape or tape for these little chicks. Now I'll show you how to do it. Let's start with the caterpillar. Whether you have a large carton or a small one, you can cut them apart and glue them together. We're just going to cut down here. And this is the caterpillar right here. Very easy. It's so much fun to paint. And if you see pictures of caterpillars, they're crazy. Some have stripes, some have dots, some have little antennae. This was just a little bit of the egg carton that I glued on there. It's great fun, so do whatever you like. So that is the caterpillar. Let's talk about the bunny. The bunny can be made from a large carton that has been cut in half, or you can use a small carton, and you need the lid. You need 2 lids. So if you're using the large carton, just cut this in half, and that's perfect for the bunny. And I'll give you an idea of how we do that. Okay, here are our 2 lids. The first thing is to make a little nose. Now I cut the tip off one of these, which I'll do right now, to make a little nose. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. This is probably about 1/2 inch. So make the nose as long as you want. Now you see, whoops, now you see why you need sturdy scissors. The nose got a bit squashed. So glue that on wherever you think it should be. And then after you've done that, cut arms and feet and bunny ears. And this time you will need this part of the egg carton. And these arms and legs are 1 inch wide. And I just cut the strips and then rounded the ends. And for the bunny ears, these are also 1-inch strips. But I think if I did it again, I would make them a little bigger and rounder, a little floppier looking. So after you have everything cut out, then paint it the color you want, the arms, the legs, the ears, and the body. Like that. I did white, choose the color you like. And then after that paint is dry, then you can paint the face on here. And do paint the inside of the ears. That's a nice contrast. The next step, after they're all dry, what I did, but it's optional, is glue the ears to the back of this part right here. I don't know if you can see that, I'll show you. Now that is optional, you don't have to do that, but I thought it looked kind of nice. And the next step is to glue everything together. Now you can use white glue, but let it dry overnight, it's going to take a while. I used hot glue. And then after you do that, and you've got your little bunny, glue on the feet so it stands up a little better. You might need to trim off the edge here so it really stands up. That's probably a really good idea. And then place the arms where you would like them and test them to make sure you get the length just the way you need. And trim them off and then glue them to the back. Glue them in place. So then you have your bunny. Now I think it's kind of fun to make a carrot or a heart or an Easter egg out of whatever, like an Easter egg can be made out of this section right here. Or even this section if you've got a small carton. But something fun. I think it adds a bit of interest to the bunny. Now the next thing are these large flowers. These are a section I've cut off 4 cups. Then I've trimmed off the edge so it looks like this. And I also cut the top off like I did for the nose of the bunny. Now to make it a flower, we're trying to figure out what to do with this section. I think I'll trim it down a bit more with my sturdy scissors. And then to make this little stamens, or whatever they are, most flowers have, I just started cutting down like this. I don't know if you can see it, so I'm going to do this with it. Cutting down like that. I have to, and do as many as you want. They can be thick or they can be thin. Go all the way around. I'll show you this after I've finished, because I know you can't see this. But I think it's a nice little, interesting bit of a flower. And you'll see almost every flower has them. Okay, and then once you've done all of them, all the way around, you can flatten them a bit. And if they need a little bit more cutting, you can do that. So something like that. And then paint the flower however you like. Now I've painted the flower one color, but you can make 4 different colors. You can do stripes on them. You can paint them any way you like. And I think that painting this section, these little stamens, a contrast color really makes them show up. And then after that's done, I took a pom-pom and put it in the back and glued it as a contrast. And then when that's dry, you can take your stick or your straw or whatever you want and glue it to the back like this. Really let that dry before you stand it up. And then you have large flowers. Now the chicks and the ladybug are left. And these little chicks open up and they have treats inside. Whoops. Little treats inside, and I'll show you how to do that. They don't have to be closed. They don't have to open. You can glue them together. Now, to make these little chicks, we want 2 of these cups from the end section. And the reason is, no matter what egg carton you have, these two ends have more of the rounded part that we need for the chicks. So each egg carton has two ends, no matter if the big ones or little ones. So it really doesn't matter what size you use. And also, the size of the cup varies on each egg carton, depending on who makes them. So here I've cut 2 of the cups, and I'm going to start trimming them to make them level. That's just a start. Now 2 cups makes 1 chick. Now the adult, I am adult, so I can do this, but I want you, remember, to get an adult to do this. I'm going to cut these apart. I could use a craft knife right here, or some very sturdy scissors. I think I would definitely use a craft knife there. So then I have these 2. They still have 2 openings, but if I used a center section, it would have 4 openings. So this is what I'm after for a chick. Then I start trimming it down. I'm cutting off these parts. I'm trying to make a cup that's level all the way around. So please tell your adult to make sure that this is level. It just takes a little bit of trial and error, but you see, this one is almost there. And I'll just trim this up a little bit. And I'll need to do 2 of these for 1 chick. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's do the other one. Start trimming it. We want them to be about this high, all the way around. And this is what I did for the ladybug also. I just cut 1 of these, 1/2 of these. So trimming it up a bit, it's a little bit wonky. Trim off the parts that stick out. Anyway, so I would probably keep on going a little bit, but I want to show you the technique. And the idea is that these should fit together fairly well. Yeah, that's not too bad. And there's that little hole right there. So that will definitely be the back of the chick. Choose the best part. Now to make these hinge open, you don't have to. You can glue these without the treats. But makes them sort of irresistible. So you need a little bit of tape. Now it can be a little bit of packing tape, which is really strong, or just this kind of tape, that also works. I did test duct tape and it didn't work very well. It's a little bit weak. So once these are pretty much the same height, you want to glue the inside together. Place them side by side and just tape them together like that. Give them a nice firm press. And you can just test it. You always want to do the inside first. Okay, that's pretty good. Now it's the time to paint them. I paint the inside first, let it dry, turn it over and paint the outside any color you want. Now at this point, it's time to decorate them. Now you can use wiggle eyes for the eyes. I just used a black marker, that worked really well. And then I cut little bits of paper, a little teardrop shape for the wings, a tiny little triangle for the beak, and then for the feet, I just cut a little heart shape, a skinny heart, and that worked out really well. Now you can cut them any way you like. This is just an idea of what I did. So cut these little details and glue them on. And if you use non-toxic paint, I think it's okay to put candy in there or whatever you like. But if you're concerned about it, you can use candy that's wrapped. Now, to show you the ladybug, I'm going to steal one of these because it's already done. And paint a black triangle. You can make your ladybug any color. But do a little triangle here. You can draw first if you want, and continue it down the sides. Okay, so this section gets painted black, and this section gets painted red, or whatever color you like. And then after it's all dry, you can put some dots on there. You can use the end of a pencil with a new eraser, just barely dip it in the paint and press it. That makes a very nice dot. Or if you're really careful, a cotton swab dipped lightly in the paint, that also makes a nice dot. Now if you want, I put a little tiny head. I cut a little section out and put a little tiny pom-pom there. This is a tough one. I think you don't have to make it too big. And then I put a pom-pom, I glued a pom-pom underneath to make a little head. That is optional. And if you want, you can just glue it to the outside too. Really squish it in. And those are ideas for crafts. Now I want to give you ideas for the future. You can do a teddy bear. It doesn't have to be just for Easter. Maybe the teddy bear is for Easter. You can also make this flat and use these for legs, put 4 legs, and add a head. And you do a horse or a lion or a cow or a pig, any 4-legged animal. Pom-poms for tails. So this is not just for Easter, it's for year-round. So save your humble egg cartons and have some fun with them. Thank you for watching. Happy Easter. Bye-bye.